I want to explain to you why home staging matters when you're trying to sell vacant homes, or when you're selling your own home and it's vacant, or you did a new build, new construction. It doesn't make any sense to me that these aren't staged. Why does home staging matter in the grand scheme of things? Well, there's a couple different thoughts. If you have a nice house and it's nicely decorated, you're already staged, like you're good to go. Maybe as agents will come over, give you a little advice. We're always going to tell you to declutter, take everything that's on a counter, put it underneath, stuff the closets. You want to make sure that you really have it as minimal as possible for showings and for usability and walkability through the house as people come through. But what I want to talk about is vacant homes, and vacant homes come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. And what I'm really talking about is vacant homes that are nice. Homes that are in bad shape, though, you don't need to stage them. That's not really going to help you upgrade. It may look like you're actually hiding some of the stuff. So if you're a fixer-upper or you're listing an investment property, I would not stage those. There's a subset of times where I have staged just one room in a house that was very old just to show what it could look like. I do think that might work, but that was in a house that was occupied. I do think it's better to be fully vacant or fully staged, fully furnished, or just nothing. But here's a couple things to consider for home staging. And the reason why I always think of this is because I go into a lot of $2-3 million homes and I'm showing buyers, and they look nice. They're brand new builds. They're super clean. The construction's great, but it just doesn't feel the same way when there's absolutely no furniture. It feels like soulless. And most people's problem when they're looking at brand new homes is that they don't get the soul. Sometimes the character's sucked out of it, even the nice ones. There's nothing there. There's no living room. There's no beds. It's hard to figure out where you're going to do stuff. So even as you go down into smaller sales, if the house is vacant and it's nice, there's no reason not to stage it other than money. So who's going to pay for home staging? That's a toss up between the seller and the listing agent. The higher budget for the property, higher list price, more likely that the agent's going to pay for that. The lower list price, the less likely. But in general, home staging, it's not cheap, but I don't think it's as expensive as everybody thinks. But just think about it. I mean, if you've gone into a $1 million home and there's nothing in there and it's vacant, it just doesn't feel the same way. Those homes still sell. So I'm not saying they're not going to sell, but are they selling at the highest price? I'm not sure. It really depends. I do think that almost all houses, beautiful ones, staged versus unstaged, will sell higher staged, and they'll sell higher more than what you're paying in staging. So if you spend 5,000 in staging, you're going to get more than 5,000 higher, just comparative, because you're giving people an idea of where everything can go. And I think that's part of your job as a listing agent and seller, is to give them a full view of what this house is going to feel like when they live there. And when it's wide open, sure, it's like a canvas, that's what you're gonna paint on, but you didn't buy it yet. So when you're at an open house or you're with your agent at a showing, it's pretty hard to figure out how that's all going to look when there's nothing there. I find it to be much harder. Staging in bedrooms is important. You can see where the bed can go, where you can have a desk. I don't think that you need to fill all the closets, but I also would say, like, that's not a bad idea to put some things in there. So for us, when we're doing our flips, we stage our own flips. That does mean you have a lot of furniture, but there's stagers in every area. And the more that you use them, the better deals we'll get for you or for your sellers. But I just think that there's nothing more important than telling the story. So a lot of times I talk about the description in listings, and I think it's very important to try to make sure that we're doing storytelling there. And I feel the same way about home staging. I feel like home staging is a way to welcome somebody home before they've bought the house and make them feel a level of comfort that you just don't get. There's nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to put anything down. There's nowhere to get comfortable. It's all imagination. And look, say there's 100% of the buyers out there, only 50% maybe are even able to see past the vacancy. They don't know where anything's going to go, and it makes it not look as nice to them. If it was staged, you'd be at 100%, depending on the staging. If the staging's terrible, that might not help. But you want to find a good stager who's not staging every house the same, who's looking at the house and figuring out what furniture and options, and especially knickknacks, wall art, things like that make a difference. Just look behind me on this fake Zoom screen here. This room, if there was nothing in it, nothing in the kitchen behind me over what is my left shoulder to your right, no art. It doesn't matter if you like the art or not. Having the art and the couches and the cushions laid out like that and stuff on the counter makes it feel like it's a home. And what your job is as a listing agent and as a seller is you're trying to sell a home, not a house. A vacant house is a house. It feels like a house. It's very hard for a house to feel like a home when there's nothing in it. Remember that. I hope this has been helpful. My name is Jonathan Green. I run a big real estate team called Streamline Properties on Market. We're brokered by eXp Realty. We're in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. If you want to list with us and get our ideas on what you can do with your home to streamline it, get it ready to list, and then we'll talk about home staging, of course, if it's vacant, or give you tips if it's not. Go to www.streamlined.properties. Have a great day.